10 o'clock.
We go in at 10, and actually I'm on the Judiciary B committee, and we have a hearing at a committee meeting at 9:30.
I want to talk to you about several different things, but from your committee, as far as Jud A,
yes,
a lot of things, of course, normally die, but some of the things that are still alive have been signed by the governor.
Yeah, a couple things have, or we've resolved them through the committee process, or I'm sorry, the conference process. And just so you know, in my committee, Jud A, we had about 110 bills to come through, and we passed out about 16, and I think about 10 may become law or something like that. But we had one of the big things that we're doing this year, Paul, and we've heard it from citizens, from judges, from lawyers, is a task force to look at the child support laws and no-fault divorce and guardian ad litem issues in our state. In our research, we found that Mississippi, of course, is one of only 10 states that continues to do it like we do. And we've had a lot of frustration with how the law's getting applied. So, that's something that maybe doesn't get all the headlines, but I think it affects people's lives, particularly children's lives, and emotional issues that we see in our court system. And so that'll be kicked off, and we passed that out of the Senate yesterday. And my colleague in the House, Chairwoman Cockerham, she worked with me on that, and I appreciate that.
She had, I was looking at a bill that she had, and I had it here somewhere, to allow a certified law enforcement officer or certified part-time law enforcement officer who's employed by a county or municipality to use his or her official vehicle while performing private security services in off-duty hours. Yeah,
that actually went through Jud B. I think that was still being worked out, and that bill, when I was Jud B chairman last year, it went. There tends to be a lot of debate over that bill because of using public equipment and law enforcement on private entities, and so that's still being worked out. And also had a concealed carry permit combined with driver's license or identification card. This was Senate Bill 2253. Right, and I think
that was signed by the governor.
Senator Fillingane authored that, and that allowed, if a person so chooses, they can have their concealed carry put on their driver's license, and they can just simply ask for it, and the DPS will do that. Once it gets up and running, they can do that. And Senator Fillingane had authored that bill, and so that was something.
That would supplant another form of identification as far as
no, it wouldn't supplant it. So right now you actually have two. If you have a concealed carry permit and you have your driver's license, and that will allow somebody to choose if they want it on one single one.
That's what I'm saying. That would suffice to any officer request.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, definitely. And speaking of the driver's license, something that we have done working with Commissioner Tyndall, we have tried to streamline and improve the driver's license bureau and issues. Of course, you probably know all the issues we had a few years ago and how bad that was. Yeah. And so one of the bills that we did was got rid of the intermediate license because that was just more bureaucracy and all of that. And so now there's only going to be, I think, 2 licenses. And
they are what? When at 15 years old?
A permit and then a regular license. And then it limits it based on, there's a restriction if you're under 18 and all that. And we sent that to the governor in the Senate.
So explain that a little bit more. If you're 15 years old, you can get a driver's license with an adult in the car, or training, or what?
I'm going to play dumb on the actual specifics there, but what we had at this point is you had 3 separate licenses. You had a permit, and then an intermediate license, and then your regular license. And so now we're getting rid of the intermediate license, and it's one less step and one less bureaucracy that you have to. So
the ages of permits don't change. It's just the requirements.
Yeah, but on the new license, if you're under 18, there's limitations that you can. Basically, what we did was we said, okay, the limitations that were on the intermediate license, we just applied that if you're under 18 on your regular license.
I got you. One more. Do you know anything about where we are as far as alcohol is concerned? One of the things, SB 2435. This was over the weekend to allow the holder of a distillery retailer's permit to sell alcoholic beverages to consumers for on-premise consumption. And I'm not. That was something that you guys took care of over the weekend.
Yeah, we voted on that. Chairman, if my recollection serves me, we voted on that, and Chairman Harkins had pushed that and did a good job. It's been a busy weekend, conference weekend, and
I know. I'm hitting you with a lot of stuff.
And I don't serve on finance, but no, I think that was done as well.
Let me go through the top three here with Medicaid. We want to talk about that one in a moment. I'll save this to after the break here. Let's go to the Wildlife Fund. Is that dead?
Based on what I've seen happen in my conversations with Chairman Whaley, it certainly looks that way. Yeah. And I think that I think Chairman Whaley has done an excellent job and has held the Senate position, which is the right position. And so I don't know if there's the last-minute negotiations or whatever, but I know that it looked like it was headed that way.
What's your problem with it? Or do you have a problem with it?
No, I don't serve on the committee. I'll say this, that I think that, first of all, the biggest problem is the diversion of funds. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm an appropriation member. I have been for a while, and diversion of funds is an issue certainly in the Senate. Okay, that means you're taking money out of the general fund. That's the bottom. So my understanding was it was $20 million. That is $20 million less for teacher pay raises, for state pay raises, for the other things that we want to do. And so I guess the debate becomes: do you prioritize taking that money out and using it for this fund over teacher pay raises? And I think that's been a big problem, is the diversion. And also talking to Senator Chairman Whaley, it's been about sending money to private entities, and you can't send money to private entities just strictly like that. And so there's a lot of back and forth.
These would be grants too. They wouldn't have to be.
From what I understand, that's the case. Right. So, but I think, Paul, the biggest thing is the diversion, and we keep diverting and diverting and diverting money, and we're not going to have anything in the general fund.
The Lieutenant Governor was on with me last week, and he said basically to me, on the air and off the air, just for the House, tell me what you want, tell me what your programs are, and then let's put it before the appropriation and fund it that way. You think that would be a credible way of doing this?
Well, sure, because the appropriation process is exactly that. I mean, the legislature, as we've said on this show before, the legislature that's their biggest duty, is appropriating. And when you divert funds, you take that power away from the legislature and put it in the hands of people or groups that aren't accountable to the public.
I think the out on this one now is that everybody's mentioning this. I say everybody, that you see it in more than one place, that if we don't do this, it's going to go the route of a referendum.
And I've seen some of the headlines on that, yep. And but I also, who knows what may happen? We know there's the lawsuit pending about the constitutionality of the referendum process, so that may be thrown out. That may be thrown out this spring. I don't know. So we'll see.
Unless they can do that before April the 14th.
Exactly.